Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again. This is episode 4 of my new franchise. Can I call it new when it's 4 episodes in? I don't know if I can. This is my franchise mode series with the Montreal Canadiens here on NHL 18. And before we get started in this episode, I just want to say, as far as the last one goes, I do apologize a bit for having it be a little bit uneventful. Now, as far as that episode goes, I had two options. I could kind of chop it up a little bit, make it a bit more straightforward and to the point, or I could do what I did and just put the episode up in full. And I did that because I felt like it was a good, showcase as to how difficult it can be to make trades, which is amazing to me. Was it the most exciting thing to watch? Maybe not. But considering how some of our series went in NHL 17, knowing how difficult it was just to find the move, just to find the right team to work with to get that defenseman we needed, I felt like the episode needed to go up in full. So if it wasn't the most exciting thing for you to watch, I completely understand, and I'm sorry for that, and I hope you've chosen to watch this video in particular and continue along with the series. If you didn't, then you wouldn't be hearing me talk right now. But again, we picked up Jack Johnson. At the very least, we had to give up Bitten to get him. We ended up giving up some pieces as well. Martinson and Brandon Davidson, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've remembered everybody. But point being, I felt like the best way to handle that episode, and I sat here and thought about it for a while. How did I want to approach that? And I felt like the best way was to do it the way that we did and showcase to you guys just how difficult it can be to find a trade. But I just wanted to mention that really quick. I'm not going to go on about it. It is what it is. The episode's done. If you enjoyed it, cool. If you didn't, but you're still hanging along for the ride here, I appreciate that. But let's get down to business. It is deadline day. We have a game at hand, or Ottawa has a game at hand on us, but at the very least, we are 6 points clear of them. 37 wins on the season. And when you look at this lineup, again, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. However, again, the only way to do that is to take somebody out of that top 9. And I don't necessarily want to do that. The only player I'd be willing to drop down to, say, even the 4th line would be Thomas Plekanec. But I feel like that's too big of a drop. I could probably put Deneau down on the 4th line and Plekanec on the 3rd and try to get even a 2nd line center, or maybe even have Drouin and Galchenyuk as the 1 and 2 and get a new winger. But I don't necessarily want to do that. I think we might keep Plekanec. As was pointed out in the comments, he's played his entire career in Montreal. There's a chance he'll retire at the end of this first year. Fingers crossed on that one. I don't want to take anybody out of that top 9. I don't. So yeah, could we use another forward? Absolutely. But at the very least, we do have Jágr, who's having a decent season. Now, if we didn't have Jágr and we had Hemsky, then I'd be like, oh yeah, let's go get somebody right now. But for the moment, I think we're okay. For the moment, I think we just got to go for it with the way we are currently set up, because again, we don't want to take away that ice time from Lehkonen or Charlie Hudon, and I feel like Philip Deneau could be the 3rd line center for us throughout this series. I mean, he is a very, very well-rounded player, and I think he deserves that time. So unless we were to really drop Plekanec, there's no move to make. There is no move to make, and we're going to give the veteran that chance. He's not having the greatest of seasons, but we'll see how he does. I mean, worst comes to worst, I can just move him around back down to the 2nd line, but I like keeping that kind of defensive core of Pacioretty, Plekanec, and Gallagher together, letting Drouin, Galchenyuk, and Jágr do what they do best offensively. Now, of course, defensively, there was talk about putting Johnson with Weber, and I think I am going to do that. We'll have Alzner with Petrie, 2 defensive defensemen together, maybe not the greatest. And then, of course, we still have Jordy Ben with Schlemko, and Mark Streit is a healthy scratch. It might be worth trying to move Ben or Schlemko and trying to get another defenseman. Now, they are both 3rd pairing guys. Jay Bouwmeester still comes to mind. Jay Bouwmeester would be a decent addition to this team, and I might make one last-ditch effort to get him. Now, I checked the trading block before I started recording. I didn't see anybody new on the list, at least not anybody that I was willing to go after. Again, Hjalmarsson, that value is just a little bit too much for him. And again, I'll showcase Hjalmarsson. That's just under half a bar worth of trade value. Our first round pick isn't worth much. I mean, we're talking about Juleson, a first, and more. I would assume they do want to trade him, but Juleson and a first for Hjalmarsson, I don't think that's the best idea. I mean, he is 30 years old now, too, on a 2-year contract. That would be a very, very risky move. Did the game freeze as I tried to bring up player info? Guys, I think the game froze. That is hilarious. Okay, we're back. That was fun. Anyway, with Hjalmarsson, a quick look at the player attributes. I mean, he's good, right? He's good. He's really good as a defensive D-man, but God, that value. We're talking, again, like a Juleson and a first rounder, maybe even more. That is a lot to give up. And aside from that, I scrolled through. You still have the likes of a Jay Bouwmeester. You still have Mike Camilleri as an option. Actually, I don't even know if he was on the block the last time we looked. He is now, though. It's a bit too much to ask for. I don't want to sit here and burn first-round picks, especially for someone like Hjalmarsson in case it doesn't work. And again, Bouwmeester would be a perfect addition. They don't want to trade him. The reason why Jack Johnson worked, 1-year deal. So the only thing I can consider is Hjalmarsson. And again, you look at even what our first round pick is worth, it's not worth a ton. It's not going to happen. It would have to be a first, Juleson, and more. It's not going to happen. So I think we're set. I think we are good to go. And I think we just got to head towards the playoffs with Jack Johnson as our only deadline pickup. And we will hope for the best. It's risky. Absolutely. It is risky, but you talk about the price you have to pay to get some of these players. I just don't think it's worth it. Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about the trades though. Columbus acquires Kyle Turris, Mark Borowiecki, and a fourth this year for Gabriel Carlsson and Sonny Milano. That's a really good deal for both teams. Columbus gets Turris. Ottawa gets Carlsson and Milano. Columbus also acquires John Tavares and Jason Chimera for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and Brandon Davidson. We just directly contributed to John Tavares being traded to Columbus. Columbus, by the way, who aren't currently in a playoff spot, the Islanders are, and that's why that deal worked. Because Columbus, despite having the Champions tag, as somebody pointed out, are terrible this year. But they just acquired John Tavares for their first. Wow. John Tavares is a Blue Jacket. At least for the rest of the season. We'll see if it's for any longer than that. Patrick Weirkoch, a fourth, and Jason Megna to Florida for a third and a seventh-round pick. You have the Jack Johnson trade, which again was for Will Bitton, Davidson, Martinson, and something else, and then Gunnarsson to Edmonton. John Tavares is a Blue Jacket. Now, John Tavares is someone who I would have been willing to trade the farm for, unlike with Hjalmarsson. So, guys, with that said, I think we're pretty much good to go. Don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and stall for another half an hour trying to figure out what to do. It's just seeing that John Tavares was just traded is kind of screwing with my head a little bit. Just a little bit. Do we overspend to bring in Hjalmarsson? I can't. I just can't bring myself to do that. Legitimately, you're talking a first, Juleson, whatever, and probably Brook as well. So a first, a good prospect, and a decent prospect for Hjalmarsson. When Tavares just went for a first, a really good first, like a top 5 pick, a second, and a top 6 defenseman. There's no way. There's no way. So the asking price is too high. We have to move forward with the team that we have. Let's do it. Is Jack Johnson a good enough acquisition to put this team over the edge? We will find out. We have finally gone past deadline day, something we should have done in the last episode, but it's finally happened now. And Carl Alzner is going to be out for a tiny bit of time with a mild concussion. All right, well, it's not the worst case scenario. He's only out for like a week. He's only out for a week, but still, it's a little bit scary and something we need to avoid. Hey, it puts Lehkonen in the lineup by default now over Hemsky, who dropped an overall point. Well, that's extremely helpful. And again, I got to make sure that Paul Byron is on the PK. We'll take Deneau out of there. We'll put in Paul Byron to keep him happy. Of course, during the playoffs, we'll just do whatever with the line combos. It's not really going to matter, but there we go. We're going to be without Carl Alzner for a bit. Hopefully he can come back from injury a little bit refreshed. He is 100% already, so he just missed the Bruins game. He just missed the Bruins game. Let's go with that beautiful little combination there. And of course, again, on the PK, we got to swap these around. A couple of minor changes. A little bit annoying to have to do this consistently, but it is what it is. So, obviously with the last episode, we tried like hell to find so many moves. I never would have imagined that Jack Johnson would have been the move, but he was the perfect fit. He was the perfect fit. We decided not to go after Tavares, of course, because the Islanders were in a good spot. And that's what happened as a result. Now, we were playing Tom Parise, but because Redmond is... actually, Redmond's 100%. Yeah, I took out Taormina for Parise. Somebody wanted me to play Parise. You know who you are. And sure, why not? Laval's still looking all right. I may have to put Taormina back in the lineup for the playoffs because the Laval Rocket are looking pretty damn good. So we'll see what happens. But for now, Parise is in the lineup. Let's go the defense for 2 weeks, I suppose. And we'll see how we do down the stretch here. 3 straight losses. Make it 4. Will it be 5? No, we're at least able to beat Toronto. Although we do lose to Florida. But hey, we got the pity point. And that's all that matters. But we are simming here to April 1st. I think I set it to the 31st of March. But we are going to April 1st. Then we'll take a look at the standings and see what our current situation is. But 43, make it 44 wins for the Habs. It could be 46 wins, and it is for the Laval Rocket. That is incredible. After this game against Pittsburgh that we lost in overtime 3-2, we have 4 games left in the regular season standings. That is what I want to see, and we have clinched a playoff spot. Now, the Buffalo Sabres have caught up. That 6-point lead's evaporated. We are neck and neck with the Sabres, and the Sens are right there as well. So we could potentially throw away a division title. It's going to be a pretty close race. Right now, we are still in the driver's seat with a 1-point lead with 4 games to go. Pacioretty leading the team in points. Again, we'll take a look at the standings and all of that at the end of the season. Let's sim this next game against New Jersey. We need to win, and we do. A 3-2 victory over the Devils. We play the Winnipeg Jets, the last Western Conference team in the regular season, and it's a 3-0 shutout win. Huge back-to-back wins for us. Brings us up to 46 wins on the season. Have we clinched the division title, I wonder? We have not. Buffalo staying right there with us, neck and neck. That is scary. The thing is, though, we played Detroit and Toronto, the 2 bottom teams in the division. These are must-win. I know we've won 2 straight. These are must-win. If we don't get the division title, there is no other way to put it. We would have completely pissed it away. We are playing the 2 worst teams in our division. 68 points for Detroit, 70 for Toronto. We need at least 3 out of 4 points here to secure that div title. So please, I'm begging you, let's get it done. Both games are on the road, of course. Let's do this. Detroit, 28, 40, and 12. We need the win. And we got it. 3-2 win. Perfect. Perfect. Laval finished first in their conference. They're going for win number 50 against the Marlies on the last day of the season. We're going up against the Maple Leafs. Let's take a look. Did we clinch that div title? I'm sure Buffalo won. But let's double check. Buffalo did win. So it's coming down to the last day of the season. Ottawa have secured that other spot, and it looks like no wildcard spots will be going to the Atlantic. So beat Toronto, finish in first place, and have home ice advantage. Lose, and we play the Ottawa Senators in the first round. Habs and Leafs. Oh, Toronto, you could ruin me here. Please, we need this. I would love to do the in-depth sim, but we've been winning from the calendar menu, calendar screen. I mean, I just jinxed myself. It's fine, because we're going to beat Toronto, or at least lose in overtime, and that pity point's going to bring us to a div title. Please. Oh, God. Please tell me Buffalo lost. Please tell me Buffalo lost. They didn't. There's no way they did. It would have showed up already that we won the title. We just lost the div title on the last day of the season. And there is my first disappointment in this series. We lost out on the div title on the last goddamn day of the season. The Buffalo Sabres. Like, we had that #1 spot for the majority of the season. I need to see the Buffalo Sabres, like, last 10 games. They have to be at least 10-0. They have to be. Fucking Toronto, man. Come on. Alright, well, we will play Ottawa in the first round. That is already secured. We are playing the Sens in round 1. Let's take a look here, though. Buffalo. Last 10 games, please. I need to know. 10-0. Yep. They went on the run of their fucking lives to steal that div title away from us. 10 straight wins minimum for the Buffalo Sabres, and they take the division title. That is infuriating. Like, really it is. We finished 4th in the league. It would have been 3rd with the div title. The Penguins win the President's Trophy. Let's take a look here. The Vegas Golden Knights were the worst team in the league. Columbus and Detroit, Toronto and Nashville make up the bottom 5. Shouldn't there be 32 teams? Hartford. There should be 32 teams. Why is there 31? Am I missing something here? I did the 32nd team expansion. Why are there only 31 teams? Like, am I missing something here? With Vegas. No, wait. You know what it is? I'm thinking of the Hartford series. Silly me. Montreal just disappointed me so hard that I'm sitting here thinking of a better time where I'm controlling Hartford and finishing dead last. God. Disappointment in year 1 all around, huh? Alright, well, hey, at the very least, we did finish 4th in the NHL. That is embarrassing. I'm sitting there like, where's the 32nd team? Where's Hartford? I'd much rather be Hartford. Let's take a look really quick. We averaged 2.76 goals for per game, which was mid-table, more towards the top half of the league. Pittsburgh and Buffalo, the only teams with 3 goals for per game. Tampa was pretty much right there, though. We had a 2.5 goals against average, which was near the bottom half of the league. 6th lowest in the league. Barely beat Washington in that metric. Our power play was at 22.2%, which was 2nd best in the league behind the Caps. Not too bad. And then our PK was 85.2%, which was 4th best in the league, tied for 4th best with the Calgary Flames. We were road warriors. We had a losing record at home, but the fucking Buffalo Sabres. We're going to have to look at their team. We're going to have to, because that is... Oh, that's so bad, man. How many times have we had, especially with the Manhattan Project and now this, a disappointment to end the season. But taking a look at our point totals, at least, before I get a look at the Sabres and the rest of the league, Jonathan Drouin and Max Pacioretty tied for the scoring lead with 67 points. 33 goals for Jonathan Drouin. Not too shabby. Patches was an even player, though. That's crazy. Drouin a -1. Yager, 64 points for the 46-year-old. 24 goals, 40 assists. Assists. Alex Galchenyuk. Right, Alex Galchenyuk. There, I'll say it right. I'm just gonna call him Gal. I'm not even gonna call him Chucky or Galch. I'm gonna call him Gal. 13 goals, 50 assists, 63 points. Gallagher, 26 goals, 51 points in total. 45 points for Plekanec, not terrible. Of course, we were playing him on the top line, so just to keep Pacioretty happy on the top line. Philip Deneau with 39 points, 38 for Shea Weber. Deneau, look at that third line, plus 17, 16, and plus 19. Hedon and Lehkonen, 35 points each. 19 goals for Charlie Hudon. Not too bad. Paul Byram with 24 points on the fourth line. 23 for Shaw. 16 for Mike McCarron. Plus-minus-wise, that was a rough line. Jack Johnson finishes a -9 with 12 points. 12 points for Streit in 60 games. 11 for Petrie in 72. 8 points for Benz. 7 for Schlemko. 5 for Alzner. 4 points in 4 games for Hemsky at least. And then Jarabek, 1 point in his 10 appearances. The goaltending. Carey Price, 69 appearances. Nice. Up to a .919 save percentage. Montoya, in his 20 appearances, had a .925. You could argue, while we did, throw away the division title on the last day of the season, had Carey Price not struggled a little bit towards the beginning, of course he had a .905 save percentage at one point, had he not struggled, we may have won that division title. So, Carey, I'm not blaming you directly, but I'm kind of blaming you. What I do want to do is take a look at the Buffalo Sabres. Ryan O'Reilly, 87 points in 82 games, 31 goals. Jack Eichel with 79 points, just shy of 30 goals, 50 helpers though. 71 points for Okposo, 59 for Reinhart and Pominville. Pominville fighting hard, man, at the end of his career. 38 points for Girgensons, 37 for Larson, 32 for Molson. Delorier hit 30 points. Benoit Pouliot at 27, Griffith at 14, and Bailey at 11. So they played more defensemen than forwards, did they not? They definitely did. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, those are their 12, and they only played 26 and 25 games. Unless they send people down. Ristolainen, 48 points. Good lord, you look at the plus-minus totals here, too. Jake McCabe, Nathan Beaulieu, who was hurt, Bogosian, Scandella, Falk, Georges, and Matt Tennyson. Right, the goaltender, though, is Robin Leonard, 69 appearances, a .922 save percentage. So, I'm a little bit disappointed. You could argue that they have that better scoring threat, though, with Ryan O'Reilly and Jack Eichel, but still, I am disappointed. You look at the wins leaders, Matt Murray with 44, 43 for Leonard, 41 for Carey Price. Holtby, the only other goalie to hit 40 wins. The top save percentage belonged to Dubnyk, a .926 in 65 appearances. Rookie race? Yeah, rookie race. Let's take a look. Now, Clayton Keller finished with 47 points, 20 goals in his rookie year for the Coyotes. Strome was up there as well, so they must have been on a line together. Brock Besser with 39 points, 38 for Hosang, 35 for Hudon, so he won't win the Calder. He won't. But it wasn't that bad of a season. Colin White was up there. Aho, probably disappointing that he didn't win it. Jost, I'm not saying he personally. He's a computer. I'm just saying it's maybe not disappointing. Surprising that he didn't win it would be the right word. Mike Vecchione was up there for the Flyers. Mark Jankowski, Dylan Sprong, Charlie McAvoy, and Evgeny Svechnikov. But I think that'll be Clayton Keller's to win. 20 goals for the rookie. As far as rookie goalies go, Brossoit technically counted. It won't be him. So Clayton Keller will more than likely be your Calder winner. And then points from around the league. John Tavares wins the scoring race. 98 points, 62 goals. Should we have played it realistically, and assuming that the Islanders wouldn't trade him because they were in the playoff hunt? Oh, well, let's hope he hits free agency, huh? 62 goals for Tavares, 96 points for Ovi, 57 goals, 90 points for Backstrom, 72 assists, of course, with the Ovi. O'Reilly up there with 87 points, 85 for Tarasenko, 84 for Kane. Malkin did well. Marchand's up there, which is pretty nice. Marchand, Pasternak, and Bergeron. Oh, God. Cry me river. Voracek and Giroux. Jonathan Taves did really well. Sagan, Kucherov, Palat, McDavid with 74 points. And Jordan Staal had 71 somehow. Of course, the goal-scoring leader was Tavares. He was the only one to break 60. Ovi was the only other one to break 50. 46 for Tarasenko. Silfverberg, 34 goals for the Anaheim Ducks. Good Lord. And the assist leader, I imagine, was Backstrom. Yep. Hedman did really well, though. Hedman did really well. Plus minus for the hell of it was Suter. The lowest was John Merrill. John Merrill. All right. Well, that is your look at all of these stats. The season ends with a little bit of disappointment. Now, we don't know exactly what Ottawa's lineup looks like. They did trade Derek Brassard. They did trade Kyle Turris. So I'm intrigued to see what this Sens lineup looks like. We may have missed other trades as well if something happened on the final day, and it's not going to show us at this point. But we will get a look at Ottawa's lineup beginning of the next episode, because in that next episode we begin the postseason. We begin the postseason. The year one sim has come to an end. The Habs, as you would expect, are in the postseason. And up next, we at least have home ice advantage. We take on the Ottawa Senators in round one. By the way, really quickly, I don't want to overlook Laval, because they had a really good season. They won their division title. They won their conference with 110 points. They didn't win their President's Trophy, call it what you will. That went to the Chicago Wolves. But Laval had a really strong season, 50 wins on the year, and some of these point totals are going to be a bit ridiculous. Chris Terry, 72 points. Not too shabby for a depth player of ours. Sherbak, 60 points. Daniel Carr with 55. Holland, 44. De La Rose and Freeberg with 43. Jerebek with 42. Audette, despite being a 67, is not too bad. It's not too bad. I mean, the potential is a little bit concerning, but 31 points isn't too bad. Martin Reeway, I'm glad you stayed healthy. EA was a little bit generous, I'd say, maybe, with the 76 durability, but he did well for us. He did quite well for us. And then the goaltending. Lindgren, 63 appearances, a 9.15. 23 appearances for Foucault with a 9.13. So we'll keep an eye on the Laval Rocket. No doubt about that, as they also, move forward into the playoffs. Although Nikolai Goldobin tore up the AHL, 86 points, won the scoring race over Cal O'Reilly and Reed Boucher, a teammate, probably a line mate in Utica, by 10 points. 10 points. Chris Bork did really well too, and that brings a smile to my face, as does that. Guys, that'll do it for this one. We took a look at pretty much every stat that we could. Just trying to soften the blow to get back into high spirits as we end this episode. Overall, again, a good season, but we do throw away the Div title at the very end. But that's irrelevant at this point. It's playoff time. Anything can happen. I don't know why that switched back. That's a little bit weird, but you know what, EA? You do you. It's fine. As I've said about 5 times now, we play the Ottawa Senators in round number 1. We'll take a look at their lineup at the beginning of the next episode as that keeps switching back for whatever reason. We're just gonna let it go. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, you know what you have to do to support the video and the channel, and any and all support is more than appreciated. Links are in the description for Twitter and Twitch if you haven't followed me on either platform. Twitter for updates, of course, and Twitch for the live streaming. And I do think that pretty much covers it. So I'll see you guys in the next episode where our playoff journey begins. Sens in 3. Am I right?